AOC thought she could kiss the feet of Nancy Pelosi and the corporate Democrats and they would let her in the club. Anyone who has been following AOC have seen her gradually change, and when I questioned whether or not she's becoming cowardly, y'all said she's trying to change the system from within. They would rather choose a 74-year-old man battling throat cancer than AOC. The vote wasn't even close. Nancy Pelosi, her mama bear, went against her. Progressives, they try to play ball with corporate Democrats and it doesn't work. MAGA Republican went into the Republican Party and wreaked havoc. AOC be trying to play ball with these people and they don't like her. And as much as I have valid criticisms of AOC, she is charismatic. She knows how to communicate effectively and she actually tries to gauge what the general population is feeling. And she's loved by millions. Rather than getting behind that, the Democratic Party chooses an old whitey man going with the status quo. They are perpetual losers.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We got to talk about my absolute favorite topic right now, which will probably be my favorite topic for the next 4 years, which is the Democrat Civil War, okay? The war between the progressives and the quote-unquote establishment Democrats. There's also a war between progressives who are extremely woke and they don't want to let go of their wokeness and identity politics, and the progressives who realize that identity politics is a losing game and they want to move on past identity politics. So there's a whole lot of civil warring going on the left side of the aisle, but we got to cover the civil war between the so-called establishment Democrats and the so-called progressives, aka the leftists, okay? Because as I talked about yesterday, AOC was easily defeated in committee leadership bid that Nancy Pelosi worked the phones to tank. Okay, so yesterday I told you guys the AOC lost a vote to become a ranking member of the House Oversight Committee, which would give AOC basically an official leadership position within the Democrat Party. And Nancy Pelosi essentially staged a coup against her from her hospital bed in Germany, okay, because Nancy Pelosi busted her ass in front of other world leaders on a trip in Germany, and she broke her hip and ended up in the hospital, okay? So from the hospital bed with a broke hip, okay, with a surgically replaced hip, Nancy Pelosi was orchestrating AOC being defeated for this leadership position within the Democrat Party, okay? And ultimately AOC lost by a 131-84 margin, okay, within the Democratic caucus. And progressives are upset, right? They are extremely upset about this. They are fuming over what happened to AOC and the fact that the establishment Democrats have once again rejecting her for any type of real power and control within the party. Take a look.
AOC being one of the youngest, well-articulated, recognizable faces of the Democratic Party, losing the ranking member seat on the Oversight Committee to a 74-year-old with cancer, a man I couldn't even tell you what his name is, perfectly sums up the Democratic Party. The fact that Nancy Pelosi had her old, greedy-ass hands meddling in this situation to stop AOC from having that position only proves that the Democratic Party does not want to move forward, does not want to learn from any of their mistakes in this election and probably the last 3 elections.
Leave it to the fucking Democrats to have something right there in their faces and then just screw it up. I'm talking about AOC losing to a 74-year-old with actual throat cancer to be the lead Democrat on the House Oversight Committee, due to the influence of Nancy Pelosi, who is literally in a hospital recovering from hip surgery. She wanted to tank it because it's this man's turn. Please, it's this man's turn to go home and retire. You expect him to speak for us when his throat is riddled with cancer? Come on. This is why it's so hard to defend Democrats, because we don't even care about what's best for us. AOC has been a consistently effective communicator who, after the election, opened up discourse to see where we went wrong, and not to do like a gotcha thing, but she was actually curious as to see where the Democratic Party went wrong in their messaging, because obviously we did. We had an opportunity to bring in a new generation and to really actually talk the talk. What we were trying to do with Kamala Harris.
The Democratic Party is a desiccated corporate husk that is completely out of step with the cadences of our time. This development is a calumny a disgrace, an embarrassment. Because nobody in America, and we're talking ground level, nobody gives a fuck about what 74-year-old bag of bones Gerry Connolly has to say. He is a fucking fossil. They do care about what this amazing woman has to say. And like her or not, you are paying attention to her. She is doing the work to explicate how government works. She has her fucking finger on the pulse of what regular people care about. People who voted for Donald Trump voted for AOC in the last election. What does that say? Could Gerry Connolly ever possibly get that kind of result? No. Because he is a complete fucking husk. He is a absolute insignificant bobbing head. But AOC is not. AOC sees the future. AOC knows the present. This is a complete setback if the Democrats hope to win further elections.
Folks, I'm not sure that National Democrats are up to the task right now. About an hour ago, House Democrats just decided to pick a 74-year-old member of Congress who is battling throat cancer to be the ranking minority member on the House Oversight Committee over AOC. AOC, who by all accounts is the best and most effective communicator that Democrats have. They've decided to put a 74-year-old with throat cancer in that ranking position instead of her. We got to wake up, folks. We got to start putting new leaders in place, people who are aggressive and people who are smart communicators in these positions, because they're the ones that will get the press and they're the ones that will get the reach. And they are the ones that we need people to hear from so that we can have them in 2 years and 4 years down the line and continue. But instead, they just said, well, it's his turn. He is the next in line, rather than doing what is best for the country, which is mounting a very strong and effective communication strategy to show everybody how disastrous this Trump administration is going to be. And AOC has been the one so far in the past 5-6 weeks since the election that has been able to talk about why people are disaffected with Democrats and why they don't trust them and what we need to do to build back that trust. And instead of giving her a perch where she can just obliterate the Trump administration, they just elevated somebody else who's just not going to be able to do that. It's incredibly disappointing, and these guys have got to get with it, or we've got a lot of bad news ahead.
Yo, I love seeing the left implode, right? I really do. I love seeing the Democrat Party infighting. People are pissed, okay, because the Democrats have essentially chosen that, you know what, we're going to continue on with our old leadership, which I'm fine with, right? I'm fine either way, okay? If the Democrats want to platform the far left loonies like AOC and put them as the face of their party, fine. I'm totally cool with that, right? If they want to stick with the nursery home show, right, Nancy Pelosi, and Chuck Schumer and all the other really old Democrats, the fossils, I'm cool with that too. Because all I know is that when it comes to the right, when it comes to conservatives, not only are we winning, but our party is getting younger. Okay, they're getting younger. Look at Trump's team. Look at the people he's surrounding himself with. Young folks, okay? The leadership in the Republican Party is going to get a lot younger, right? Democrats, on the other hand, again, they're struggling, okay? And I don't know. I felt like when Biden was still in the race, we were told that we're not supposed to criticize age, right? We're not supposed to be upset with old leadership, okay? I was told that is ageist, okay, to say that somebody's too old to be in leadership. I don't know, man. Those progressives you guys just saw, they sound pretty ageist to me. Apparently, that's how this is supposed to work. So with that being said, we have more coping here, but from Joy Reid, okay, and her propagandist guest, as they're going to talk about the Democrat Party being too old and how there needs to be young leadership. And again, you got to understand what the young leadership is of the Democrat Party. It is far left progressives that are solely focused on identity politics. They're obsessed with identity politics. And I think that this election was a rejection of identity politics. So again, it's damn if you do, damn if you don't for Democrats at this point. I think both sides are wrong here. But let's go ahead and get into it.
Why not have an AOC and a Jasmine Crockett who, quite frankly, are never scared Never.
of
And
Donald
can
Trump or
communicate
Republicans.
with regular.
Yeah. Make Jasmine Crockett your leader, right? Make the woman who is always saying racist things about whites. Yes, make her your leader, okay? Because there is nothing that will be more effective to help Republicans continue to win for the next 4, 8, and 12 years than having a leader on the Democrat Party that is openly saying, screw whites, right? I don't like white people. We don't like white folks. Okay, they're all racist. Yeah, do that, right? Do that. I am rooting for AOC and Jasmine Crockett to become leaders of the Democrat Party. That's exactly what I want.
People about
Absolutely.
regular things. I mean, AOC and Jasmine Crockett are probably two of their best communicators. And, you know, you have people that have the skills, but they're not pushing them forward.
That's right.
You know, Ayanna Pressley is one of your strongest communicators. Why isn't she pushed forward?
Yeah, make her a leader as well, too. Make her a leader. Make all the race hustlers leaders. Yes, that's exactly what the Democrats should do. Continue to turn off a majority of this country. Yes, okay, all of these people believe in the insane policies of the left, right? For example, open borders, being soft on crime. They believe in all that stuff. Defund the police. That's what they believe in. So yes, make those people the leader, right? Please do that.
Do you also feel that these women of color, these young women of color, are getting set aside in a party that during this campaign, and this was Biden's team that Harris took on, refused to pay for the ground game? They didn't want to give LaTosha Brown and Black Voters Matter any money. They wanted to give it to these big, giant consulting firms run by mainly majority folks who made a lot of money.
Yeah. Like, for example, Oprah, Roland Martin, Al Sharpton. That is who Kamala Harris gave money to, right? She gave money to the Call Her Daddy podcast, paid $100K for their setup. But again, according to these people, no. The problem was that they didn't give more money to some of these woke organizations that, again, they don't really amount to a hill of beans, right? Black Voters Matter. They're not getting anybody out to vote. Let's be real. Okay? It doesn't matter how much money you get to these people. It doesn't matter how much you try to sell them on the Democrat Party when the results are bad, okay? When the results are the results that we've gotten for the past 4 years, none of that stuff is going to matter at all.
And refuse to put money on the ground to get young voters out.
Yeah, and that the consulting class tends to lean to, let's figure out the moderates, right? Let's go pick up some moderate
Convert
voters.
Republicans.
But the reality is, if we've seen the exit polling and conversations, even anecdotal conversations that I've had with folks, Black and brown voters didn't even get any mailers. There were some conversations that weren't even they weren't even touched. No. And so to the point that you're making about AOC, Ayanna Pressley, Jasmine Crockett being a great messenger, you think about Donald Trump. He is a wonderful messenger. That's the credit that I'm going to give him. He knows how to use culture and reach people so he can distract them from what the administration is going to do. Yeah. We need messengers to make sure that people are paying attention to all these hearings on Capitol Hill, to communicate to voters. I don't agree with what Bernie Sanders said, that we've abandoned the working class people. No. We actually are the party of working class people.
And working class people are not all white.
And they're not all white. And actually, we have the policies for those people. Jasmine Crockett, Ayanna Pressley, AOC, the list goes on. Those women know how to communicate to those voters. That's why you saw so many AOC Trump voters, right? Yeah. She did that polling, and people want to be engaged.
They want authenticity.
Authenticity and feel as though their voices are heard. And those are the disruptive voices that I think the party needs to concede, retire, enjoy the rest of your life.
What is about
and
this?
Let them be
this
leadership.
gerontocracy seems like it's intractable. And I recall that when President Obama was elected, he kind of pushed aside the DNC and created his own organization, because I think there's a frustration with the sort of creaky way the DNC operates. Jamie, God bless him, couldn't really change it. But it is run by donors and consultants and people who are locked into the old ways of doing things. They want to advertise on TV. And look, I'm for TV. Okay, I love TV. We work on TV. But they don't want to do the sort of new world media, right? But that an AOC is so good at.
Totally.
Yeah, so you see that, you heard that. Okay, I just find it hilarious how these people are upset that Nancy Pelosi staged a coup against AOC when Nancy Pelosi staged a coup against the whole Democrat Party, right? And a lot of these people were not nearly as upset. And I'm like, well, why would you be surprised that Nancy Pelosi is pulling the strings in Congress? I mean, she pulled the strings in the Democrat primary, right? In regards to getting Joe Biden out, okay? Making him step down and not having a primary at all. Again, it's amazing. Absolutely amazing. This is hilarious. This is one of the best stories after the election. The implosion that is happening on the left. Like I said, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. Okay, if the Democrats decide to align with the far left, they're making a mistake, because the far left, they're radicals. Okay, they're identity politic radicals that turn off a vast majority of people. Okay, in this country, black, white, Asian, Hispanic, whatever. Right, everybody's turned off by that. But if you stick with the old guard, clearly, they are not doing well either, and it will turn off the progressive base. So at this point, hey, the Democrats are stuck between a rock and a hard place. I did not envy their position at all. We will see how all this unfolds. But like I said, you're seeing the war already starting, and Nancy Pelosi is essentially guaranteeing that there will be no new leadership, right? That they're going to continue to be controlled by her, the Obamas, the Clintons, the elites, okay, the corporate donors, the people who make the Democrat Party run. And progressives are upset with that. And we will see how this unfolds. But let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.